ask, different individuals, what would they do in this situation? Well, two guys came into a pawn shop and robbed a pawn shop. And I guess they were going to take whatever they were going to get and run. But there was a guy in there that had a concealed license. Now, the question is, now what happened, that guy started shooting at them, and they shot him back, and he died. Now, the question is, if your life isn't in danger and they're there to rob the place, do you pull out your weapon? My answer in that case would have been, I'm not going to pull out my weapon unless I know my life is in danger.
That's a hard
Now, that's a fine line. That's a hard one because it's a fine line. Because how do you know when your life is or isn't in danger, right?
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it like that, but when do you?
And that's part of that responsibility. A lot of it is having knowledge about your weapon, what you can do with your weapon, like you were stating earlier. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes you just make that decision and hope it's the right decision.
I mean, and it's a toss-up. It is what it is. The reality of it says that if you can remove yourself out of that danger zone, out of that situation, then that is what you do. But if you have no other choice, such as in the Waffle House down in Florida where the guy shot, he asked the people to leave him alone. They kept bothering him. The guy's trying to jump him. He finally pulls out his weapon, and he shot both of those guys. And he just laid his weapon on the counter and waited for the police. But in that case, he was attacked, so he had a right to defend himself. So in the pawn shop situation, if the weapon is not turned or faced on you, you're not the authority. You're not the police.
Correct.
Remember, that's what George Zimmerman used against Trayvon Martin. It was just them two. Said it was self-defense.
Hey, well, gentlemen, we're going to take a pause right quick before I bring up the next guest, which is Sean Davis, as well as we got people on Facebook who have some questions and comments. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask it. If you're sharing it, feel free to ask, and we'll pose those questions as well. But for a minute, we go take pay a little bills, and we go recognize some of our sponsors. As one of our sponsors, Stitch Lux, as well as I want to recognize Unapologetically Black. Let me pull up their website. If you're looking for black apparel, you want to go to Unapologetically Black. You're liable to see these all over the country. They got the denim hats as well as the vintage hats, the shirts, unisex, the shorts. You're liable to see these all over the country from Atlanta to DC, definitely here in Houston. The young brother and the wife are doing their thing. The shirts are very distinguished. And you can go to unapologeticempire9.com, as well as you can follow them on Instagram. I think it's unapologeticempire9 as well. But they got some amazing gear that I wear quite often. The sweatshirts, the hats, amazing stuff. So go to their sites and support their site. Once again, that's unapologeticempire9.com. If you don't got your unapologetic black shirt or your hoodie or your hat, get you one. As well as we want to recognize Houston CBD, which is another sponsor. If you're looking for your CBD products, they got your CBD products as far as your gummies. As well as if you're trying to get into the business and learn how to start your own online school, storefront. Houston CBD has that, as well as they got the Botana oil from Dr. Sabi's Village, and a host of other products such as the Full Spectrum Salve, which is a new product. They're 500 and 1,000 milligram gummies. So if you're looking for something to help with your inflammation as well as your anxiety or headaches, check out Houston CBD. Now we're going to go back and resume our conversation. The next guest I'm going to be bringing up is Brother Sean Davis out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The good thing about this conversation that we're having, y'all won't see the other part. That's going to be another part, but we're actually hosting a trip that we're doing in the next couple of months where we're going to be doing some hog hunting. This is pretty much a form to bring, once again, the men talk is to bring men together so we can talk about different things. We talk about problems, we talk about solutions, and we realize a lot of men don't have outlets to talk about things. So me and my co-host, Matt Cowles, who's not with us, is our therapist. This was this forum for us men talk to bring men together. So the event that we're trying to do, that we're going to do, is going to consist of us doing some hog hunting. And it's mainly just for the brothers to get together, just to talk about things and just camaraderie. So Brother Sean Davis is actually the guy that's actually hosting that for us. But I want to bring him up as well as him to talk about some of his experience in regards to guns. This guy's an avid, I ain't gonna say avid hunter, but he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to just hunting and just knows so much things. He's a good brother and a good friend of mine. Brother Davis, you care to weigh in on some of the things that you have heard within the last 37 minutes, man?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, my preference for rounds in my long gun is always going to be Hornady. That's my preference. I don't really care as far as what revolver or automatic, semi-automatic pistol, what kind of rounds I use, as long as they're quality rounds. The other thing that I wanted to chime in on that I found fascinating is both gentlemen stated that they wanted to not see who was actually carrying a gun. And I have a different preference on that. I want to know everybody in my surroundings that is carrying a gun. I like to see them with their guns out because it lets me know who has what. And it also sets me up in a position to know where I need to be. I always look at what side they put their gun on. Because if they're right-handed, of course, it's going to be on the right side. So I always try to stay to their left. They're going to pull. If they ever pull, that gun is going to get pulled. It's going to get pulled to the strong hand, which is to right. If you on the left, you have a tactical advantage because they're on their blind side. That's first and foremost. You got to look at it from that point of view. I agree. One of the things that was said earlier about black people always want somebody else to protect us. That goes back to that religious aspect of that slave mentality. We can't fight for ourselves. We gotta let somebody else do it. And we see how that's worked to this point. We have to stand up and arm ourselves. And that stat you said, 24% of blacks own guns. I thought that was a little high myself. You just have to watch what you're doing as far as guns. I like people. Get your guns, show them. Let me know who you are, where you are, so I know where the threat is.
Right. Let me post some of the comments from the people on Facebook. Matter of fact, someone from Oklahoma City posted an amazing comment. They said, don't forget, Brother Hightower, here in Oklahoma City, the law now is such that you don't have to have a license nor a background check to carry a gun. Can you imagine what could potentially happen? Wow.
Yeah, it is legal.
But there's a lot of other states that have that same law. It ain't just started.
No, it's legal in Oklahoma as long as the gun is registered to you. You can actually carry that gun anywhere you want to.
But you can't leave the state. That's what they don't get.
Without a background check?
Without a background
checks, that's always been. I can sell Sean a gun. All I have to do is ask any of y'all, are you a felon? If you tell me no, I can legally sell you the gun as long as I know you ain't a felon. Well, that's always been Oklahoma.
Hold up. Unless the laws didn't change, I thought you couldn't sell guns in Oklahoma unless you had a license to sell a gun.
No.
We can do private
gun
sales
shows
in Georgia, Oklahoma, all the South mostly. Private sales. Now, if I was in Texas, I couldn't buy a short gun. I'd have to pay for it and have it shipped to Oklahoma. But if y'all are here like me and Sean, we can do a transaction. Are you a felon? No. Okay, here you go. we don't even have to sign a paper saying I sold it to you. That's how most people that I know do guns, because they don't want the paperwork trail.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, Texas has an open carry, but what they attach to the open carry is that you have to have your CHL. So you have to have a concealer, you have to have a handgun license to be able to open carry.
Right.
I think a lot of us just don't, the ones that don't really know gun laws, they just going off what they think instead of researching. Mm-hmm. Like Greg was saying, we don't research. We just going off what we think. Somebody told us, and then somebody else told them. And by the time it got to them, it was all jacked up. And,
Yeah, but, so many of us as blacks, like my grandfather, perfect example, military, went through World War.
A lot of us just don't.
Keep going.
Oh, he went through Korea. He came home. My grandfather was so opposed to pistols. He had a couple of hunting rifles, but he just wouldn't use a pistol. And he was like, he would use a rifle for home defense. But his biggest thing was black folks, and this is what he told me, blacks people don't need pistols. And that goes back again. We don't think we need the self-defense of anything other than the Bible and that's it. And that don't work. When, that man is kicking in your back window, climbing through, I hate to be, sensitive about this or whatever, oversensitive about it, but that Bible ain't gonna do nothing. You can hit him with it, but trust me, it ain't gonna stop him.
No.
I think there's just an overall fear of firearms. Again, I think it comes down to the way to resolve your fear or to mitigate your fear is to learn how to respect your firearm. And like you said earlier, learn the laws. I think when you've educated yourself, or at least began to educate yourself so you can go past the novice level, I think that then that fear will leave you. Look, I have a healthy respect for my firearms. I know how to keep it on safety. I know when I hand it to someone, I hand it to them barrel first, right? Barrel down. And those are just some of the smaller things of many actually that will help you, get rid of that fear. And I think a lot of black folk, we just don't have it around us. And that fear is there, Well,
that fear is inherited to our culture because we are taught that guns are evil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's the problem. We're taught guns are evil. Guns aren't evil. People are evil. A gun is an inanimate object. You can sit on that desk all year long. That gun will never fire until somebody picks it up and pulls the trigger.
No, that's true.
Yet.
That's very true, Gregory.
And a suggestion for not those of us who are on this panel who have gun experience, but those who might be watching on the internet, if you are unfamiliar with guns, go take a gun course. But I'm not sure if they have them around Houston, but a lot of the shooting ranges here in Oklahoma will let you rent a gun while you're at the range. Rent a gun, fire a couple of rounds off, get adjusted to the idea of using a gun, loading it, sighting in, all that kind of stuff, man. And it makes it easier when it does come time for you to make a decision on a gun. You're not scared. There's a lot of people will go, okay, I need a gun, but they don't know what type of gun to get, what caliber, what works good for their hand. They just go, everybody done seen Superfly, so they want that 50 cal with the nickel plate.
Biggest caliber.
Yeah, that don't always need to be. Go find you a nice little hammerless 38 or a little 32 that's small and fits your hand. Something that works good.
Or they seen Menace to Society and they got it cocked the wrong way.
Yeah, gun etiquette.
You know who I think can really ease the gun fear in the black community? And I would go, is the black church.
Might as well give that up, brother.
No.
Well, and I would go to Brother Gregory's church. Since I know he's a gun person, I'd probably be a deacon at his church.
Hey,
or running for
I'm
it?
gun toting. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gun toting. I'm not, like I said, I carry my weapon for give myself a fighting chance. If anything happens, I have a fighting chance. That's all it is. I'm not out there brandishing my weapon. I'm very cautious with my weapon. If someone wants to see the weapon, I don't mind you seeing it, but I never hand anybody a loaded weapon. I always unchamber, clear it out, lock it back. Now you can look at the weapon.
We go to a mixed church, and I bet 70% of the church got firearms.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
people got. You just don't know.
The black church won't come on board with helping people with the idea of gun ownership because the black church has always been the mindset of passivity. We're gonna just pray about it and overcome. So you'll never get a church to say, okay, let's bring our congregation together and let's hold, gun safety courses or get people familiar with guns. It's just not gonna happen. Not knocking the church. They do what they do, but again, that mindset has to change that we're going to let somebody else fight our fight.
Well, I would interject and want to say some of the comments that some of the Facebook watchers are saying. Somebody had made actually a valid point. We need to teach gun proficiency to our children early. They look for respect in firearms.
Yeah, I started my baby girl early.
Mm-hmm. And also, someone also said the black church is the #1 advocate against guns.
It is.
Short, what would you say about that?
Very true.
I mean, it's a true statement because one, we have this mentality that this is the house of God. So, you should come in here and you should be safe. Shouldn't have to worry about anything. But the world is changing. And as the world changes, we have to understand we have to change too. We can no longer remain the same and remain idle and not protect ourselves and protect our loved ones.
You know what? I don't want to go too much deep into religion, but when you do research and talk about religion, and if you do research on the Knights of Malta, if you know the history of the Knights of Malta, who was the protector of Jesus, they was pretty much avid killers.
Yeah.
Avid killers.
I mean, look, we can be honest to say this thing here. Every life is precious. That's just what it is. Every life is precious. Whether you're the bishop, the cardinal, the deacon, the usher, your life is just as precious as the next person's life. And none of us want to leave this earth any sooner than we have to, and not by someone else's means. So I look at it this way: to protect myself and to protect my family. If it takes that, then it takes that. My weapon has nothing to do with my relationship with God.
I agree. Let me propose this question to the two brothers from Oklahoma, based off a comment from one of the Facebook attendees. Do y'all think the new law in Oklahoma has caused an increase in crime there due to the new gun laws?
No.
It was already here.
No.
It's just that was another reason to blame it. The gangbangers, the white supremacists, they gonna get guns. They're gonna do what they do regardless, in my opinion.
So, and to answer that myself, the new gun laws didn't increase crime. It didn't reduce crime either. But what you have to understand is just what you said, Nikhil, the gangbangers, the white supremacists, they already had guns. They've been shooting and killing, robbing all the way. Now, what it's going to do is make them understand that that next person they approach trying to rob might not be as innocent a victim as they think. So it makes it easier.
I'm gonna protect my wife and daughter.
Right. Now,
By any means necessary.
I'm with you.
I'm gonna protect them. That's what I'm here for.
That's right. I think we're all advocates of the Second Amendment. I think that's clear.
yes.
Yes. I always stated that burglary in the state of Texas, that's a bad occupation. They need hazard pay in Texas. They really do.
They need some Affleck.
That's what I told them. It's gonna be some leaking, and some stinking, and somebody riding one of them long Cadillacs. There'd be some fried chicken for you, whoever the family is.
So let me propose this to you all. I'm gonna propose this question to Brother Chris. Coming from J-Rig here in Houston, Texas, do y'all think guns should be brought into schools and churches due to the influx in school shootings?
Now I'm going to be honest. That's a difficult question for me to answer because, especially when it comes to schools, I'm a Second Amendment supporter, but I think there's restrictions. There are limitations on everything. Church. I understand why you would take a gun in church, and I don't know why I feel this way. I need to really contemplate on it more, but I understand why you take a gun in church, but I don't advocate taking it into schools.
So let me ask you this, because as you know, they got what's called the resource officer there. And some of these schools in Texas are very big. I don't know if y'all seen some of the high schools. As a matter of fact, some of the elementary schools are big.
Yeah,
Do you think that's really one officer really can patrol and secure that one school? If that's the only person that's carrying a firearm?
Let me tell you something I saw today. I read this today, and I hope I'm saying this brother's name correctly. Colin Noir.
I watch him. He's out of Texas.
Okay, I follow his Facebook, but I was on his page and then went to another page. Do you understand 80% of mass shootings occur in gun-free zones? Do you understand that? Do you understand the impact that is? 80% of mass shootings are in gun-free zones. So just think about that. Wow. Of all the people that have died in a mass shooting, if 2 or 3 people could have been in that facility with a weapon, and if not killed that individual, but at least hindered his progress as he was mowing down people. Understand that. So put guns in schools, put guns in churches, put guns in hospitals, put qualified people to work those guns and understand what the damage it can do to a person who is trying to eliminate people for nothing. That's my thought on it.
Brother Sean, you know what? I think you said the key word. I think qualified. I think if you designate people, train them each semester, continue to go through training, and I think that I would support it a lot more. Now, every teacher bringing a gun, I don't support that because I don't think many of them know what to do. But if you have some designated people here and there, yes, I understand that.
I agree with you, Brother Chris, and somebody said the same thing. A lot of these teachers are unstable themselves. So do we really want an unstable teacher with a firearm?
No. That's why I said qualified. And I can tell you this, Hightower, you know this. I worked security in clubs, in concerts for years. Always kept my weapons on me, several different types of weapons on me. And you would be surprised how many times that deterred bad action by individuals because they know all security there is armed and won't hesitate to put you down. Look, man, there was many a times we had to put people out of the club 10, 12 deep. They ready to fight and start hurting us. But the minute they understood, okay, I have a pistol, I have a stun gun and a baton, you can try something, but it's at your own peril. That deters a lot. And that's the same thing going back. Put those qualified people in those environments to deter any bad behavior.
But if you guys have noticed, most of the mass shootings don't happen in the quote unquote ghetto schools.
No.
They're happening in the schools where we don't need metal detectors because this is a great environment there. They're not happening in the ghettos, as they call it, because they have metal detectors and plenty of police. Most of those shootings are happening in the so-called good schools.
That's right.
It goes back to gun-free zones. That's where they have you're literally shooting fish in a barrel. You have a man with an AK-47 with 300 rounds and 600 people running around with no clue how to defend themselves or go hide. Man, that's why. You don't understand that. That's why they need to have those resource officers and other people qualified to carry them.
I even talk to my daughter. If you see some people, something like that happen, don't stand there. Don't be standing there with your phone out. Go the opposite way and try to get out. Don't stand around, when you see people interacting, because bullets don't have no name.
Mm-mm.
And the way half of them shoot, the destination is never correct.
I agree. Hey, y'all, my name is Leo Hightower, and this is our series of Man Talk. We do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m., and we pretty much come together as men and just talk about different subjects. And so happened this Wednesday, we was talking about Gun Talk, which is our second series. February 12th, tune in. Please tune in. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on February 12th, where we're going to be talking about women and men that have been raised versus pretty much women that have been raised with a father figure in the household and a father versus women who hasn't, and how that effect plays on them as far as their future, as far as relationships, as far as men. I'll be a part of that, as far as men that grew up without a father in the household and how that affected them later on in life. So February 12th, please tune into that one. Go have a special guest on there. The Blackest Truth will be joining us. If y'all not familiar with Neith Nye, she'll be there joining us, as well as I got some other guests that's coming on. So February 12th, please tune in. We go wrap up our Man's Talk. We got about 5 minutes left.
May I say one thing? When you
Go
have
ahead, Brother Sean.
Simple suggestion. I would like an idea or put this idea out there. We can talk about guns and all that, but I would like to pose a show where we show alternative weapons of defense that are legal to carry that you can have on your person or your vehicle that will deter people from damaging your person.
I like that idea.
I've got quite a few ideas that there's weapons I carry on a daily basis that are strictly legal, but will tear a person up and will protect you without any, without no illegal repercussions.
That's one I need to show my wife.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk about that because I got one or two myself. Matter of fact, while you got the floor, Sean, is there one that you would like to display or talk about for those that are listening who's probably against guns and just want something to protect herself?
My biggest thing is carry a collapsible baton in your car. I always keep one in my car. My girl has mace and a Kubaton on her keychain. Now, if you're not familiar with a Kubaton, you can get it in plastic, you can get it in metal. My girl prefers the plastic one with the hard pointed tip. It's a very high impact. You can hit a person in the head with it. It's like making your fist 10 times as hard, and it actually can provide a little bit of distance because you can extend it about maybe 8 inches out of your hand and jab people with it and keep them away from you from getting their hands on. There's other options. Like I said earlier, I always carry 2 blades on me at all times. This is one.
Got that OJ knife, don't you?
This is one.
Oh, killer.
Always carrying pairs.
The Juice Man knife. Boy.
You got to do them, brother. You got to carry.
You got to do.
So there's alternatives. There's alternatives. Stun guns, of course. But we'll talk more, brother. But, everybody that's interested in the hog hunt, go ahead and get my email. And I've got some ideas already together. And we'll start kind of narrowing that down.
Man, me and you, Sean, need to meet up.
Anytime,
Get
brother.
the wives together and have dinner one day.
Man, I would love that because I don't deal with nobody down here.
Man, my wife, she works out a lot, but we don't. I got one good friend here, play football with, but I don't fool with a lot of. I don't hang with a lot of people because it's kind of hard to trust a lot of people nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Hit me up.
We talking a good group of brothers where you can talk, bounce ideas, maybe talk about problems that's going on. We don't do that neither.
I can do that, brother. I will send you my number on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else
up there?
Yeah. We always go to Oklahoma City, brother.
Yeah, we can get together because, like I said, Leota's too far. He in Big Houston now. He moved on up.
Well, hey, while I got y'all here, we need to go on there and solidify dates. And to you all that's possibly interested, just hit me up. We're doing what's called a hog hunt. We're looking to possibly do the Dallas area. And we're looking at I think early April, if not late March. So I need to know if those dates will be good with you all.
Yeah, let's bounce that off each other because even if we just got together and do some shooting somewhere, just the time to sit and see each other face to face and talk. And I've got friends, you know, that like to shoot. Just get together, bounce off each other, you know, just good vibes. It's hard to find. They do it all the time. When we gonna start getting together and bounce vibes and you know?
One last thing on the hog hunt. For those that don't have a long gun and you only have pistols, there's a few outfits that actually rent rifles for you to use while you're on premise. So that doesn't have to be something you go out and buy a gun for immediately. That's always an alternative.
Okay.
Maybe we can be on one of them hog hunting shows. The First Bros are hog hunting. We be on TV.
And to be honest, this is what this is about. It's about camaraderie as well as teaching survival tactics, because a lot of us don't have no clue. And I'll be the first one to admit, when it comes to hunting animals, I have no clue. I can fish a little bit, but I don't know nothing about deer hunting, hog hunting. And I think we have gotten away from survival, that if came down to something, we pretty much stuck.
Now, Leotis, rest assured this, baby. As sure as we not going to buy guns, unfortunately, Michael Jordan getting ready to release a Kobe Jordan. And we will be running to get them J's.
Who is we?
We worried about them weapons. We going to get them J's. They got something coming out for them. So we going to be camping out for them. We ain't worried about them weapons. We got to get them J's.
And you bring a good point that goes back to priority.
Mm-hmm.
I think you me and getting them J's when they come out.
I think every household, definitely the black household, should have some type of self-protection. Matter of fact, I'm in the process of looking at some additional firearms as well. But we need to. Bottom line.
Remember, Leotis, what I told you the story when my job was slow.
Let me ask you before you go to. Would you like to share that story with everybody? Because I think it's a very interesting story, and you got lots of people watching.
It was maybe 15 years ago. I was slow at work. I sold one firearm a month, and we never missed a beat for a whole year until the company picked up.
Wow.
One firearm a month. I mean, they was nice 1911 and stuff, but one firearm a month, and we never missed a beat.
It really is a good investment.
And the gentleman, I told Leotis, the gentleman I started buying guns for, I'll never forget. I thought he was a redneck. Good friends now. He told me I was going to get addicted and I was going to be back. And when I started buying guns, the first thing he told me, 2 things in Oklahoma, one thing you never be broke in Oklahoma as long as you own good firearms. And I thought, man, you so full of He was right. He told me that. And this man's probably got 5 safes of firearms at his house. He's a pawnbroker.
Wow.
And I went to a gun show every month for that whole year and never missed a beat.
Now, let me ask you this, Brother McKell, because also with Men Talk, we like to share opportunities because a lot of people don't realize there's various opportunities as far as making a living and just making an extra dollar. Even if you got a 9-to-5, still have your side hustle. Do you care to even talk about the details, the profit margin in that first deal that got you into this?
Man, it was because what happens is with farms, they never really lose value, especially if you buy nice ones. And the people I sold them to, I knew them in the oil field, so they would give me, if the gun was $900, they would give me $1,200 because they don't want the paperwork. And I knew they was good people, so they wanted me just to put in their gun safe. Because I think I sold 3 of them one time for $4,500 because the guy just didn't want it. This guy's wealthy. He didn't want no paper trails. He just wanted firearms. Legal guy, but he didn't want paperwork. He didn't want the government knowing nothing about what he got. So he would buy them. Cash money, no problem.
And that's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal.
In Oklahoma, I know for sure, Georgia, and I'm sure it's a few other states like that.
Interesting. So for those that...
The states with the strictest gun laws are some of the worst crime states: Chicago, California,
New York. Yeah.
New York. They got the worst crime rates, and they got all the strict gun laws.
Yeah.
What is it? You can buy 1 gun a month in like California. They got some kind of restriction up there.
You also magazine restricted too.
Yeah, you can only have 10
rounds or something.
And it's 10 or 7.
Okay, so I know this is going to be a whole nother conversation. I'm going to pose this question, but nobody asked, nobody stayed on it yet. We'll save this for a later date. What do you think about the red flag laws that are trying to go into effect in California and a couple of other states? And what I mean by the red flag laws, if you are a gun owner and someone calls the police and says you threatened them, you are a threat to yourself or a threat to society, the police will automatically come to your door, confiscate all your weapons, and then make you have a court date to prove you're not a threat and competent to return your weapons.
Me and Leotis talked about that a few months ago.
Okay, so I'm just going to put that question out there, and that'll be at a later date, but I'm just wanting to know, give y'all some time to mull on that.
I'll just say this. It's going to affect one group of people, and we know who they are.
Yes, black and brown.
Well, no, whether it's taking pills for Ritalin and all that, it's going to affect one group.
Always do. Always do.
And we don't even know it.
But gentlemen, we're about to wrap this up. Once again, I like to start on time and end on time. We started a little late. Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me. Next week, we'll be starting on time. But next week, you will be with Mr. Matt Cowles, which is our therapist. He'll be providing another lecture. But February 12th, please tune in. February 12th, I got some special guests that's going to be tuning in regards to, once again, male and females who was raised in the household with and without a father and how that plays a factor in their life later on. So please tune into that. Thank you to the sponsors, Unapologetically Black. Once again, you can reach Unapologetically Black at unapologeticempire9.com, as well as Stitch Luck, as well as Houston CBD. Please go to the website, support their website. Thank you for the sponsorship. And before we close out, any words of advice or any last words, starting with Brother Short? Hold up. Thank you.
I think his mic is.
There we go. Go ahead, Brother Short.
So we have to be aware as well as self-conscious of what we are teaching our young people concerning weapons. And one thing that I would say is that if you're going to teach a child, don't get them a 357 to teach them. Start them off with something reasonable that they can actually hold in their hand and begin the weapon. And look, teach them how to maintain the weapon. That's a problem that we have. How do you clean your weapon?
Okay, good point. Good point. Brother Chris.
I think that we have to be vigilant with respecting our weapons, and with a good, healthy respect and understanding, I think the fear will go away. And we can do that by educating ourselves. You can go to a concealed handgun class. You don't have to buy a weapon, but go in that concealed handgun class and learn from there and take it from there. And your confidence will grow.
Good, I like that. And by the way, me and Brother Chris is actually going to a gun range this Friday, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be seeing you Friday, brother. Brother Sean.
Last words on me. As a black man, we are called to protect our women, our children. We are lacking in the effort because we do not have the same veracity of wanting to do it the way certain other races do with firearms. Don't be scared. Get that firearm so you can protect your family in the best way possible. I know black men are big and bad, but if Billy Bobo jump up with that little 22 and you come out with a pocket knife, there ain't no chance of you winning that fight, brother. Get you a gun.
I agree. And I want to thank you all on Facebook and those and other places. Thank you for watching and tuning in. And once again, this is Men Talk. We do it every Wednesday at 8 p.m. The second Wednesday, we do what's called King and Queen Talk, where we bring the queens on. We talk about various subjects. And next time we talk about gun talk is going to be the last week in February, last Wednesday in February. So if you're interested in talking about the gun talk again, join the last week of February. If you want to continue to support the channel, please support. I got a Cash App. You can send to the Cash App to keep this going as well. And once again, we got the, matter of fact, let me put that up for you all. We got the sponsors. Please support the sponsors as helping to keep the show going on. But pretty much this is for us as men to come together and talk about problems and solutions, as well as to bring the kings and queens together. So once a month we do that. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you to the panelists. And I hope everyone enjoyed the rest of your night. And thank you for tuning in to Man Talk. I see you.
Good brother, stay up, man.
All right. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all.
I hit you in the morning, Sean.
Yes, sir. Always.
I'm on workload management at work.
All right, fellas.
Have a good one.
All right, my man.